The Man in the Corner. It was a Friday evening, and I was alone in my apartment, relishing the rare silence. My roommates were out of town, and I had the whole weekend to myself. No noise, no chaos, just me, a stack of unwatched horror movies, and the faint hum of the city outside. The apartment was nothing special, an old two-bedroom unit with squeaky floors and creaky windows. It had its quirks, sure, but after living there for 3 years, I had grown used to them. The worn walls and leaky faucets were just part of its charm, or so I told myself. Around 10 p.m., I dimmed the lights, made a bowl of popcorn, and settled onto the couch. Outside, a storm rattled the windows, the wind howling like something alive. Inside, though, I was cozy under a blanket. It was perfect. Just me and the glow of the TV. Halfway through the second movie, I heard it. A faint scraping noise like metal dragging across concrete. At first, I assumed it was the wind or some loose gutter outside, but the sound was too deliberate, too rhythmic. It came again, louder this time, followed by a soft thud. I muted the TV, the silence now oppressive, and strained to listen. The sound was coming from the hallway outside my apartment door. My heart began to race. This old building was notorious for its thin walls, but the noise was too close. Too close. I got up, barefoot and tentative, and approached the door. Pressing my ear against it, I held my breath. For a moment, there was nothing but the distant hum of the rain outside. Then, just as I was about to turn away, I heard it. A single knock, light but deliberate. I froze, every muscle in my body locking up. It wasn't the kind of knock you'd expect from a neighbor or delivery person. It was slow and unnerving, like whoever was on the other side was testing my reaction. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling despite my best efforts to sound calm. No answer. I squinted through the peephole, my heart thundering. At first, I saw nothing but the dimly lit hallway stretching in either direction. But as my eyes adjusted, I noticed something at the far end of the hall. A man stood there, completely still, partially shrouded in shadow. His head was tilted slightly to one side, and a wide-brimmed hat obscured most of his face. I stumbled back, my breathing quick and shallow. Who was he? Why was he just standing there? I tried to convince myself it was just a neighbor or someone lost. Maybe he didn't even know I was watching. But when I looked through the peephole again, he was closer, standing about halfway down the hall now. Panic set in. I locked the deadbolt, double-checked the chain, and backed away from the door. My phone was on the coffee table, and I fumbled to grab it. Should I call the police? But what would I even say? There's a creepy guy in the hallway? It didn't feel serious enough. The knock came again, louder this time. But it wasn't from the front door. It was from the window in the living room. I whipped around, my eyes darting to the rain-streaked glass. There he was, the same man standing outside. My apartment was on the 3rd floor. There was no fire escape, no ledge wide enough to stand on. And yet, he was there, staring at me through the glass with an unnatural stillness. I grabbed a kitchen knife, my pulse hammering. The knocking grew more frantic, more insistent. And then, it stopped. The silence was almost worse. I stood there, gripping the knife, every nerve in my body on edge. Then, my phone buzzed. A text. The message was from an unknown number, and it simply read, "Why are you hiding?" I didn't respond. My hands were shaking too much to type. A new sound broke the silence. The knock, again, this time from the bedroom door. But that was impossible. No one had entered. I would have heard. I ran to the front door, flung it open, and bolted down the stairs without looking back. When the police arrived, they searched the apartment and found nothing. No signs of forced entry, no footprints, nothing. The only thing out of place was a message scrawled on my living room wall, written in dripping black ink. "I'll see you soon." I never went back to that apartment. I stayed with a friend for a few weeks, then moved across the city. But even now, in the safety of my new home, I sometimes hear it, the knocking. And I wonder if he's still out there waiting for the right moment to come back.